Tubers, tubettes, and of course the ever-widening circle of crazy people. This is going to be a video that's going to be different than one I've ever done before. I did an interview with Mark Thornton, which is coming up right after this little introduction, about his medical experience that he had here in the Philippines and his impression of the medical care that he received. I am then going to follow it up with a little video clip of myself because I went to Thailand to have practically the same thing done, a full body workup. So he's going to tell you his story and what he experienced. I'm going to tell you my story and what I experienced. I'm going to offer up no opinions between the two. I'm going to allow you to draw your own conclusions. So here comes Mark Thornton first, and then I will follow him. All right, kids. Well, I'm here with a guy that really needs no introduction. This is Mark Thornton, my friend, my buddy, and he has the channel Every Man Has a Story. If you haven't checked that out, make sure you do. I will put a link in the description. So Mark and I have known each other for quite some time. And Mark, just like me, had a reason to go to the doctor. And since I went to the doctor in Thailand, and Mark had a similar thing where a lot of tests were required, I thought he was gracious enough to come down and relate to us his experience here in Dumaguete and what he did and how it went. So maybe, Mark, if you want, up to whatever point you want to, you can kind of let us know what you were concerned about and then the steps that were taken as far as rectifying the situation.
Yeah. Well, I had two things happen. One was I was swimming in the ocean behind my house about a month and a half ago, and all of a sudden my lungs filled up with fluid and I couldn't breathe for no reason at all. I mean, I felt fine 1 minute, the next minute I couldn't breathe. And I went back to my apartment, drank some hot tea, coughed a whole lot, and finally got my breath back. That's when I knew I had a problem. I went to the hospital a couple days later because I had it happen again where I was riding my motorcycle and all of a sudden, just kind of lost my breath. Went to the hospital, the EKG, they did in the emergency room, they did a blood test, and they said you'd had a heart event, whatever that means, but you're not seeing a cardiologist, you're seeing, an intern in the emergency room. Like, what does he know,
Yeah, and what exactly is a heart event?
Yeah. And so basically no help at all.
Open to interpretation.
Yeah, and so then I got COVID. Pretty sure it was COVID because I've had it before. And it's
all the symptoms.
Yeah, all the symptoms. I mean, worse than when you and I had it way back in 2020.
Right.
Really bad. And a friend of mine recommended a family doctor that he had at Silliman. Made an appointment with him. He was excellent. Gave me some medications and helped me kind of get over that. But he also recommended I see a cardiologist.
Okay, let me stop you right there. The general practitioner, how did you feel as far as his competence and demeanor and expertise?
He was just fantastic.
Okay. I mean, how much did it cost to talk to him?
$10.
Beautiful.
$10.
Okay, right on.
And I didn't feel rushed at all. He sat me down, talked to me for like at least 40 minutes.
No kidding.
Asking me all these questions.
Young guy, old guy?
Young guy.
Young guy, okay.
Like in his 30s. Changed all my medications around, ordered all these tests, blood tests, chest x-ray.
He did?
He did,
okay.
Yeah. And then when those came back, he said he was concerned about my heart, something about 120 coming in and 20 going out, whatever that means. Like,
okay.
It wasn't very efficient, my heart.
Let's talk about those tests. Was that an all-day ordeal, or was it done quickly?
No, that's pretty easy. I came back. I actually got some of them I did that day, that very day.
Okay.
You just went in there and he wrote like a prescription, and you went to accounting and paid for the test. And I think the most I paid for any of the tests was $20.
Okay.
And then you take that ticket to the radiology or the lab where they do the blood test, show it to them, and within 10 minutes I was in there getting it done.
Okay.
Chest x-ray, the blood test. They did a sonogram on my neck too. And it was all, fairly easy and painless, because it's not that big of a campus to begin with. And everyone was very nice and friendly, it was no problem at all, really.
So at the end of all that, what was the expense just for the test?
I don't know. I mean, less than $100.
All right. Okay.
For everything.
All right. So you're in this thing with the doctor for about $100, and he's ordered the necessary tests.
Yeah.
The tests come back. What does the doctor say?
Well, he says he wants to see a cardiologist.
Okay.
He's concerned about my heart.
How long was it to get into the cardiologist?
Like I said before I came here, since I had quadruple bypass surgery 7 years ago and I'm moving to the Philippines, I thought, well, it'd be a smart thing to go see my cardiologist before I go move to another country. I couldn't get an appointment.
In
It was
America?
going to be 6 months
Yeah.
to see a cardiologist in America,
Wow.
on my Medicare.
On Medicare?
Yeah, on Medicare.
Okay.
And so I just blew it off. And then here, he made an appointment for me, and I was, like 3 days later.
Good.
Got me right in, and I've seen her 3 times since then.
Okay. And how do you feel about her as far as competence and the way that she relates to you and just her overall demeanor as a doctor? Do you feel she's qualified? Do you feel, is there any trepidation with her? Or
No, I mean, she
credentials
seems
or
like
anything?
she explained to me what was wrong with me and the reason she was giving me all these medications. She ordered even more tests.
Okay.
One of which was where I had to wear like an EKG thing, but you have to wear it for 24 hours and take it home with you.
Yeah.
And you're wearing like a battery pack.
Wow.
And then the next day you come and they take it off, and I guess they process, that 24 hours of information about your heart,
Sure.
which I haven't got that back yet on account of there was this holiday here. So the lab was closed, so I still don't have those results left.
Okay.
And they also did a sonogram that was a 30-minute thing, all over my whole heart. I haven't got that back yet either.
Okay, so once that comes back, you'll
I'll know
have
more.
a prognosis, if you will.
Yeah.
And then possibly more, better, and improved treatment, or not, I don't know.
Well, I know from when I had my bypass surgery, I'm not eligible for stents. My arteries were too far gone for that, so stents aren't an option. So there's no sense having a angiogram when they put the dye in you and go up in there and try and open your arteries up with stents, because I'm too far gone for that.
Okay.
And my problem is not so much my arteries, but I have an enlarged heart. And so these medications I'm on are supposed to reshape your heart and shrink it and make it work more efficient.
Okay.
And so far, that all seems to be working. But
Good. Because you were really swollen for a while there.
yeah, that
Before
was
I
because
left,
of the steroids I was on.
You were looking like I don't know what.
Yeah.
It happened so fast.
Well, that was my own fault.
Well, see, to me, that wasn't weight gain, because it was like
Well, it was water
one day I
retention.
looked at you and you looked like you do today, and then the next week later I saw you,
Yeah.
and your face was like 1.5 times its normal size.
No, it was water retention, and I did it myself. It's like, this is the danger about the Philippines and some other countries is you don't need a prescription unless it's like an opioid. Most pharmacies, you can go there. If you know what you want, what drug it is, they'll give it to you.
Sure.
And I went online, I forget how I found it, but I went online when I was having my heart trouble, before I'd seen the cardiologist, before I'd seen my family doctor. And I thought I had, fluid on my heart.
So you
I
self-diagnosed.
self-diagnosed.
WebMD'd it.
Yeah. I figured I'd seen enough, doctors on TV that I could be a doctor, And so,
Do I have to call you doctor from this
yeah,
point
and
forward?
I read a couple paragraphs
Well, there you
online,
go.
So I figured I was qualified.
Sure.
And so I go and order this steroid. I can't remember it's the same steroid they gave me when I had my sinus surgery.
Okay.
I had sinus surgery and sinus operation, and they gave me this steroid which shrank my sinuses instantly, and along with the antibiotic made me feel great. So I figure if it shrinks your sinuses, it'll shrink your heart, because they're right next to each other. Like your nose is here, your heart's there. And so I
You
figured,
can't make this up.
and if you take extra,
Take more.
take more, it'll make your heart shrink down. And
Yeah,
you'll
it'll
be
be
fine.
perfect.
Yeah, I know.
It'll
You
be
should
too
write an
little.
article. And it did. I felt
If you saw it online, it has to be true.
I did, and I felt better. I
Yeah.
felt better for a while.
Okay.
And then I woke up the next morning, and my wife said, "Who are you?"
I'm the marshmallow man.
And I was like,
the Michelin man.
I was like, like when a toad gets scared and he puffs himself up. That was me. Oh, I was literally.
It's like that guy in Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
The marshmallow
that
man.
was me.
They blew him up.
That was me. Like all my clothes were tight, and so I figured, well, I don't know what's wrong, but I should probably take more.
Excellent.
So I took some more, and then I couldn't breathe. And
So
then,
it was a good day.
yeah. And so then I went to see my doctor, and he gave me a diuretic,
Uh-huh.
and that worked. Like I just peed it all out, got rid of all that fluid,
Right.
and somehow I went online and checked on side effects, which I should have done first.
Well.
It was at
Why
the
read the instructions?
It's at the
That's no
bottom
fun.
of the thing anyway, in small print. It's their fucking fault. Should have sued them.
Yeah. I think you got a case.
Should. Anyways, I stopped taking it. And I basically shrank back down to normal.
All right, good.
So
So right now the only thing that I am seeing is that what would frustrate me to a little bit is the time lapse of the results. And I had a similar issue back when I had a condition where they had to do a biopsy on me.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they said, well, it could be this or it could be cancer.
Yeah.
And I said, well, okay, when do I get those results? She said, I don't know, we got to send it off to Manila, and that was 2 weeks of me sitting around going, gee, do I have cancer?
Yeah.
And it turned out that I had an allergic reaction to soap, so that cleared up, thank God. But I don't know, it's that time lapse that makes me crazy.
Well, with me, it was everything else was ready in 2 days, just like they said. But the only reason on these last two tests I was still waiting on, it's not that they're not ready. I haven't been down there to get them.
Right.
They are ready. But this silly holiday, this All Saints thing, lasts for like 4 or 5 days.
It does.
And so it's more important for people to go to the graveyard and visit their dead relatives.
Absolutely.
Than to save people that are still alive.
That's correct. Yeah.
And so they were shut down. And so,
oh well.
Anyway.
So anyway, I'm glad to see that you're feeling better and that you're on the mend.
Yeah.
And we will definitely stay on top of this. And I'm going to do a video that recants my experience in Thailand, doing basically the same thing for different stuff.
Yeah.
So thanks again.
The COVID thing was the big thing. I was sick with that for another 2 months, just like before.
Right.
Even though I'm vaccinated and boosted.
And how do you feel right now? I mean, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'm a 9 now, but
You're
I mean,
9.
Yesterday, things still didn't, like I drink this water, it tastes like there's something in there.
Uh-huh.
And all my food doesn't taste well. I lost my appetite.
That sounds like COVID stuff to me.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And just now, I'm just now starting to get it back. I still haven't got my sense of smell back.
Okay.
Because I didn't put my gas tank cap on my bike right the other day when I filled up my bike. And I'm driving with my wife. She says, I smell gas. I smell gas. I didn't smell any gas.
Wow.
It was sloshing all over right in front of me.
Wow.
I didn't smell it at all.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah.
Let's stay on top of it, either on my channel or your channel,
Yeah.
and let everybody watching, because I know they're concerned and want to make sure that you're okay and going to be around and be vlogging for a while and taking good care of yourself and taking care of Jen.
Yeah.
So thanks for stopping by,
My
buddy.
pleasure. Yeah,
All right,
thank you.
man. Chat with you later. Okay, so we just heard from Mark, and now I want to go over my experience, along with Maze, who's not here right now, experience in Thailand when we went to go have a full physical workup. An appointment had been made for us at Bangkok Hospital on the island of Phuket. We went at our appointed time. When we arrived, we were greeted. The facility, to say it was state-of-the-art is an understatement. Clean, professional. The staff was super courteous, friendly, and they spoke English for the most part. When we first got there, we registered with the usual stuff, name, address, phone number, passport number, and they put us in a computer, and we were now in a central data bank. May went off with her nurse to her direction to do her things, and I went off with a nurse to do my thing. And there were about a dozen different places that we visited. They were checking, they did x-rays, blood work, I did a stress test, eye exams for both of us, other scans that I can't recall because it's been a while. Bottom line is we spent 4 hours going from one station to another. Now when I finished, say for example, drawing blood, nurse was there. All right, Mr. McGill, please come with us here. And the next test was performed. And the test may have taken 5 minutes. Some of them took better part of almost an hour. such as the stress test and some of the x-rays that they did. And I won't go through all the results or all that kind of stuff. I will summarize it by saying there's really nothing wrong with me. There are things that need to be corrected, but I don't have any life-threatening, anything imminent on the horizon with either my heart or anything else. One reason I got motivated to do this, I probably was remiss in the beginning of doing this video, is in the last 3 months, 5 different guys that I know personally have had either a stroke or a heart attack within 3 months, severe ones. 5 guys. And I got to thinking, man, am I next? It kind of rattled my bell. It rang my bell, if you will. And so it got me thinking about it. And that's when I decided to move forward. I knew I didn't want to get tested here in Dumaguete simply because I've seen the equipment, I've been to the doctor, I've seen guys that had these strokes not receive, in my humble opinion, the proper care, medication, analysis, etc. That's just what I observed. I'm not saying it's the rule of thumb. Again, I'm just being honest with you. I didn't have confidence here. So I did this deal where I went to Thailand with May. She did her deal, I did mine. She came out perfect, just cut to the chase on that. And I came out of it 4 hours later, finished the test. Once we were done with our test, each of us took a break. They sent us to the commissary. They gave us little coupons. We were able to eat finally. And then we spent another hour and a half. Again, she went in her direction and I went in my direction. And we saw the appropriate doctor for each and every test. So I have this booklet. There's one for May. And this is the booklet here. Down here, it's probably in selfie mode, but it says Wellness Center. And just to give you an example, I would sit down with each doctor and they already had me in the database. So they would simply pull up my records and then they would have me flip to the appropriate page so I could follow along, and they would review the results with me. To give you an example, there's a picture of my eyeballs. They did discover that I have cataracts, which is actually good news because I haven't been able to find a pair of glasses that work. And apparently my eyes are just digressing and getting worse and worse and worse as the cataracts worsen. And therefore, my prescription, if you will, is going to perpetually be changing. I can't drive at night. And this is a very correctable malady, if you will. Very easy surgery. It's got a 99.7% success rate, and it's just a matter of getting it done, finding a doctor that I want to do it. I can have it done at Bangkok Hospital. I got pricing on that. I'm going to check here in Dumaguete at the eye clinic. I'm going to check the eye clinic in Cebu, and then I'll pull the trigger and figure out which way I want to go. For me, it's the confidence in the doctor and the facility. And of course, price. I want to see if there's a big variance in price. I could go to the States and use my Medicare, but by the time I pay for a hotel and a rental car and this, that, and the other, it's just, I already figured it doesn't make any sense. Here's a picture of my spine. And right behind that is a picture of one of my legs. And they did find that I'm losing bone density, and they corrected that by prescribing calcium. Exercise stress test came back perfect. However, the doctor said that he recommends, with my previous heart history, that I get an angioplasty, which is where they go in and with a camera and snoop around. Cost on that, if they had to stent it, would be about 13 USD. 13,000 USD. If they didn't have to stent it or do any angioplasty, which is where they just kind of pop open an artery, it would run about $6,000 or $7,000 just to go in there and snoop around. What impressed me was that when I went in, not only, I don't want to beat this into the ground, but just how efficient and quick it was. the going from station to station to station to station, getting so much packed in 4 hours, and then being able to sit down with each physician. I think there was 8 different tests that I took that I needed to talk to a doctor, talk to a dietitian, talk to the heart guy, ophthalmologist, blood worked up guy, the cancer guy. The other ones, they're in the book. And then at the end of it, they gave me pricing on the things that were wrong. So for example, the only things they said was my heart and my eyes. They gave me pricing on what it would take to correct it, or in my case of my heart, to investigate further. No pressure or anything like that. They did write prescriptions for the calcium deficiency and another thing for pain. In other words, they picked up on the fact that I've got a little curvature in my spine, which is causing me back pain, but they don't want me to take acetaminophen anymore, because apparently that's not agreeing with my liver. So they found a tiny little spot on my liver. I said, well, what are we going to do about that? They said, nothing. There's nothing to do. It's minute. It's nothing to get excited about. There's nothing to treat. It's almost like it isn't there. So I like that. And then when it was all over and done with, we were sent to billing. And I had a price already quoted up front. The bill came out to be about another $100 more than I was quoted, and that was simply because of the medications that were prescribed to me. Those, in my humble opinion, were overpriced. It was one for pain, and it was a big-ass calcium tablet, but I just rolled with it. Total cost, including medications, for May to get examined and find out there's nothing wrong with her, and then for me to be examined, have this book, talk to the doctors. I can also go back at any time and consult again with the doctors for free. Oh, and they gave me a shot of testosterone. I forgot, when I saw the urologist, he said, hey, your testosterone's normal for a guy your age. It's on the low end, but you're fine. And I said, well, so I can't get a shot of testosterone? Gave me a little vim and vigor, give me a little boost. He goes, hey, you want one? I said, yeah. He said, no problem. So shot me up with a little testosterone. That was included. $1,200 US is what it cost to go top to bottom. We were out in 6 hours, roughly speaking. 4.5 hours for the testing, maybe 2 hours consulting with different doctors, and then one of the longest parts was waiting around to settle up and toss the old credit card at them. I was duly impressed. I felt much more at ease. You just heard Mark's story, and so I'm not going to comment on that. I'm not even going to comment on this other than my impression. That is how we rolled when we were in Thailand. State-of-the-art facility, 4 hours, did a litany of tests, got the results, got a consultation, and we and paid for it, and we did that all in 6 hours. Okay, I hope this was, if nothing else, a little bit informative for you, and I'd be happy to listen to your comments. And I will see you in the next video.